What's going on, everybody? It's SJG, and welcome to HBCU Game Day, a special episode. We're going to call it Behind the Huddle for you guys, Beyond the Huddle for you guys, because we're going with some of your favorite HBCU coaches. And today we've got a special treat for you guys. I'm going to bring him up in just a moment, but just give him a brief introduction, although he needs none to the HBCU community. But before I do that, please make sure that you guys hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, do that. And definitely make sure you hit those notifications so you don't miss any of the great live content that we have for you, as well as a lot of the great videos that we've got going on for you. Without further ado, we're in the middle of basketball season, but in the college football world, the college sports world, and especially the HBCU world, it's always football season. And so today we have a guest that is no stranger to HBCU football, college football, and the NFL. He was a great quarterback at Florida A&M University, led those guys to some MEAC titles, playoff games, and just an extraordinary career at Florida A&M University. He then went on to play in the NFL, play quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and carve out his niche there. And then he returned to the coach. He returned to the HBCU ranks at his alma mater, formerly at FAMU. He also has been a high school head coach, and then he's been a quarterbacks coach in the SWAC at Alcorn State. And then he went over to Memphis and was an analyst there. And last year, he was brought back full circle to the HBCU world as the head coach of a story program in the SIAC. That is, of course, Albany State University. And so without any further ado, I'm going to go and bring him on because you're tired of hearing me talking and you want to get to the man with the plan. So here we go. Coach Gray, how are you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm doing well, man. Just down here in the Benny, just making things happen, man. We're excited. It's an exciting time of year with recruiting going on, man. And, our kids, the kids on campus are working out with our newly hired strength and conditioning coach, Coach Sharp. So it's been on the up and up around here, man. Some exciting things going on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, we'll definitely get to some of those things that you guys have going on and looking forward. But let's look back a little bit. You've been here at Albany State for just over a year now in the head coaching position. Your first time as a head coach at the collegiate level. What has this last year been like for you? We see the build up and the regular season and everything like that. But what's this first year been for you like at Albany State University, being the point guy, the head guy at a college football program?
Well, it's really been an eye-opening experience for me. You always think that you know what a head coach job entails until you get into that seat. Obviously, there's some things that you've had experience with as a head coach on a high school level, but you never truly know and understand what a college head coach goes through until you sit in that seat. And I think for me, the biggest thing that was important for me to do this past year was to learn, understand how the SIAC works in terms of conference, understand how administrative things work in terms of the university here at Albany State, and then just understand how my administration works and the support that comes from them, and then the support that comes from our constituents and also our alumni. So for me, it was a tremendous year of learning, understanding how much the Albany State, the Ramley support this program, understand how much our administration, Dr. Marion Fedrick and Dr. Christine Kelly, how much they pour into this program, and then just our student body and how much they love Albany State football. But for me, man, it's been a tremendous learning experience for myself, my coaching staff, and then also the kids in our program, just learning what our standards are. And I think with that, we have a head start on what 2024 look like for us going forward.
No doubt. We're talking with head coach Quinn Gray Sr. of Albany State University. Coach Gray, obviously, you know what it's like to play at a storied program at Florida A&M. That speaks for itself, and you left your legacy there as well. But Albany State, for a lot of people who don't know, they are a program in their own right over in the SIC that has a great tradition, a lot of pride, and you're following. You came in after the tenure of a guy who was successful there. He won championships, Coach Gardenia, and things like that. For you, coming in and your first time as a head coach, first time as a head coach at the collegiate level as well, establishing what your brand wanted to be. What have you learned about Albany State football, about their particular fan base, the pride that they have, and how have you been able to mold and ingratiate yourself and Quinn Gray Sr. into that community and make it work?
Well, I think, when it comes down to traditions, Albany State, the tradition here in terms of winning is tremendous. Coach Hamp Smith, Coach Mike White, Coach Cardenia, for the most part, had this program in a place where they were winning championships, and that was the expectation here in the community. I think for us in our first year, we earned our way into the championship game. I think we slipped up against Allen and Edward Waters, but we're fortunate enough to gather ourselves and win the last two to put ourselves in position to play for the championship. And I think for us, once we came in as a staff last year, the standard was already set. I think our kids explained to us when we sat down and talked to them when we took the job that 7-3 wasn't the standard. Not going to the SIAC championship wasn't the standard. So we immediately understood what the standard is here at Albany State in terms of the tradition and also just what the community expects from us. And I think for all that, we've actually stepped up to the standard, and now it's time to exceed that standard and set a new standard when it comes down to championships and getting ourselves into the Division II national championship playoffs and taking that giant step in terms of winning one and taking this program to another level. So, I think the community has welcomed us, myself, my family, my coaches, with open arms. We go places around here, and people are the expectation for the upcoming season is very exciting. But we can't put the cart before the horse because we got to put the work in, and the guys understand that the input that you put in is really going to determine the output that you're able to put out during the season. So we're putting in the work right now as a staff in terms of doing our due diligence of research and new things that we want to implement. And then on top of that, our student athletes are doing what they need to do in the classroom, first of all, and then doing what they need to do in the weight room with our strength and conditioning coach. So we're putting ourselves in position to hopefully do the things that we want to do in the upcoming fall season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I was at SIC Media Day this past July, when the predicted finish was announced, and you guys were second, and I was like, that's quite a bit, in your first year as head coach to inherit the program and be picked to be right there. But when the dust settled, you guys were there. So I think that speaks a lot about you and what you guys were able to do, and how difficult or what has been the process of getting guys to buy in, because you guys came in late. You guys came in late last year. In some ways in January. What was it for you? How were you guys able to kind of coalesce what you already had there, and then take the reins to start transforming into what you guys want the program to be under your leadership?
I think it's more so a trust factor when it comes down to getting young people to do what you ask them to do. They're not going to do anything for you until they know they can trust you or they know that you care for them. So I think immediately they understood that that's a part of who we are. That's a part of who I am in terms of as a leader, that we're going to love you regardless of who you are, what you do, what your role is in this program. We're going to love you the same. If you're a starter, we're going to love you the same if you're a walk-on. And I think, the biggest thing that we learned once we got here is kids were just thankful for opportunities. You know what I mean? A lot of kids in our exit interviews after the spring, coach, we just thank you for the opportunity to be able to show our talents. And that's no discredit to the past staff or anything like that. But some of these kids were just yearning to be able get on the field and show their talents, if it was just in practice or was it if it was in a game setting. So for us, it's about giving these kids opportunities and helping them understand and realize their dreams of being able to play on the college level. So for us, it was easy. I think the transition was easy. When we got here, the kids were excited about us coming. They were excited about something new. And I know offensively they were excited because we brought a different flavor and a different tempo to what it was that they were doing prior to us getting here. So that transition, although it took a little time, it wasn't as difficult as I anticipated. As you know, kids, a lot of kids don't deal well with change, but in this sense, our kids, I thought, did a great job of understanding that change is inevitable, and they did a great job of making the adjustment. Like I tell our kids all the time, we're not here to change who you are. We're here to make you better people, and we're here to ask you just to make subtle adjustments to what you do in your life. And if you make those subtle adjustments to what you do in your life, man, you can take this thing wherever you want to go.
Right. Again, we're talking with head coach Quinn Gray Sr. of Albany State University. Coach, when you talk about the profession that you're in, coaching as a college head coach, you played for a legendary head coach and Coach Billy Joe down at FAMU. What were some of the things or some of the lessons that you took from your time there at FAMU under Coach Joe, playing in that Gulf Coast offense that have helped you in your career, whether it's getting to the NFL, but now also kind of being in that same seat as a molder of young men over at Albany State?
I think, for me, the biggest part was the mentorship that Coach Billy Joe gave to us as young men. And obviously he taught us a tremendous amount of football and the ability to apply the game of football to life situations. And then he also gave us the tools to go out there and perform each and every Saturday. And for that, that's the same thing we try to do here at Albany State in terms of our student athletes. We try to first make them better people. And if we can make them better people, by all means, we can sure make them better football players. Because at the end of the day, if you're a better person, you're going to probably be a better football player because you're going to be coachable. You're going to be willing to learn. You're going to be willing to listen. And as our illustrious AD always likes to say, we're trying to create legacies here. We're trying to give these kids opportunities to create their legacy here at Albany State, create their own fingerprint here at Albany State, and leave their legacy on this university. Because the people that have come before us, like people come before me, Coach Hamp Smith, Coach Mike White, people like that, they've left their stamp here on Albany State. And that's what we want to do here at Albany State, is leave that legacy once this thing is all said and done. But, at the end of the day, Coach Billy Joe had a tremendous, tremendous part in my matriculation through college and then also the NFL. Obviously, he's as a quarterback at Florida A&M, you had to know the offense inside out. So you had to know everything about what the defense was trying to do to you and also know our offense in and out because you called all the plays. Coach Billy Joe gave you the game plan during the week. And on Friday, he made sure that you were good to go. And Saturday, it was up to you to go out there and win those games. Although he may have given you some insight during the game and some suggestions, but Coach Joe relied on us to know what we were doing out there and take what the defense was giving us to go out and call plays against 34, 35-year-old defensive coordinators as we were 19, 20, 21-year-old quarterbacks. So that part of the game helped me and my counterparts, Pat Bonner, O.T. Miss Sampson, Jaywan Sider, guys like that, go out and defeat some formidable foes back in that time. So I think that part of it, although I don't let the quarterbacks call their plays, I think, the opportunity to do that gave me a different perspective of the game of football that a lot of folks might not have necessarily had in their careers. So, I'm truly honored and blessed to have played for such a coach as Billy Joe and having the opportunity to learn under his tutelage and take that part of the game and apply it to everything that I do to this point in my career as a coach and formerly as a player. So, Coach Billy Joe, hats off to you, my brother. Love you forever.
No doubt. Yeah, you definitely got to click. Glad you cleared that up. You definitely got to have your quarterbacks telling you they think they can call your plays now. But no, seriously, and something else you touched on too when we were talking about you transitioning to the program. Obviously these days there's a transfer portal, but you were a guy that you waited your turn. You stuck around for your turn. Obviously, Pat Bonner came in, and then also Sider. And you guys split time, and a lot of kids now, they probably would not have taken that. I have to ask you, if you had the transfer portal back in 90 and 90.
You there? You there? I got you.
Coach Gray, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Live broadcasting. Appreciate everybody that stuck around for that. Yeah, Coach Gray, just talk about that, maybe what that experience built in you, being able to stick.
I guess for me, man, the transfer portal is what it is these days. We just back then we just didn't have those same opportunities to do what the kids are doing these days, and that's just hot-tailing it whenever they don't feel like they're getting a fair shot. You know what I mean? I never the thing that kept me at FAMU was I always felt like I got a fair shot. Whether I performed well enough to earn the starting position, that was all up to me. There was never a time where I felt like I was being mistreated. There was never a time where I felt like I wasn't given the fair shot to win the starting position. In 2000, matter of fact, let's go back to 99. In 99, I earned the starting position at Florida A&M after Pat Bonner left. Jawan Sider came in from West Virginia, and he came in, and I had a really, really good camp. And I had a really, really good spring. The spring before, had a really, really good fall camp, and ended up starting the season as the starter against University of Miami, played against Morgan State, then went down to Tennessee State and didn't play so well and ended up getting injured. And the next week, I wasn't well enough to play, and Jawan had a historic game. I think he threw for 4 touchdowns, ran for another 2 or 3. And when it came down to it, why would Coach Billy Joe, not allow him to start the next game? I wasn't fully healthy at that point, but I wasn't bitter either. He, at the end of the day, Coach Billy Joe was very, very instrumental in terms of communication, in terms of talking to the quarterbacks and helping us understand why he was doing certain things. So there was no animosity. There was no beef, because I learned tremendously from O.T. Sanson, who ended up transferring from Albany State to FAMU. And then I learned tremendously from Pat Bonner, who transferred from Temple to FAMU. And I learned tremendously from Jawan Sider, who transferred from West Virginia. So at the end of the day, all 3 of those guys were instrumental in my matriculation and my maturation when it came down to the Florida A&M offense and being a collegiate quarterback. So, I think our kids these days are a little bit entitled when it comes down to it. But, at the end of the day, you sort of you have to be able to adjust with the times. Like I tell my kids, I don't change. I just make adjustments. You know what I mean? I'm able to adjust to the times. I'm able to adjust of how the portal works. Our coaching staff is able to adjust to how the portal works. We got to be able to adjust to the minds of these kids and understand what their thought process is. You got kids that you make offers to, and you offer scholarships, but sometimes they want bigger, and they're bigger. And as a coach, that bigger isn't coming, but they choose to wait And what, as a coach, what do? Do you wait for them to get that disappointing news and say, okay, coach, I'll come? Or do you go out and find somebody who would appreciate that opportunity a lot sooner than somebody that's waiting on it? So, the ever-changing landscape of college football, man, you have to be able to adjust to it and make the necessarily changes when it comes down to, recruiting and dealing with the portal. But I never thought about leaving Florida A&M. My time there, I thought Coach Billy Joe was just too good of a coach to leave, man. Again, I never felt like I didn't get a fair shot at anything at Florida A&M, which ultimately kept me there, because I always thought Coach Billy was always fair. He always gave everybody the same amount of time to put hold onto the position. And when it was your time, it was your time. And when you was ready to play, you was ready to play. And fortunately for me, that was 99, the first 3 games, and then 2000, 2001. So the rest is history.
No doubt about it. And obviously it worked out for you. You went on to the NFL, you competed for time with some other guys, highly decorated as well. And you were able to hold your own as well. Before we leave the state of Florida one time, so people, I see it in the chat. Obviously, you're there at Albany State, and they just had a coaching search over at FAMU. They weren't really feeling anybody outside, but if there was somebody outside, your name was definitely floating around there. Obviously, you're at Albany State, and that's where you're staying for this year. But how good did it feel to, to be wanted and to already see people seeing you as a guy that they would like to have lead their program?
For me, man, it's a blessing to be mentioned for any job, to be honest with you. But my president, Dr. Marion Fedrick, and my AD and Dr. Kelly and our administration, the support that they've given us as a program, and the overall general feeling of love that they've given us as a program and as a staff, speaks volumes. And despite anything, I think FAMU did what they were supposed to do or what they needed to do in terms of hiring a qualified coach that was on that staff to lead them for the next however many years. But for us, it was about moving the needle, and because we set the standard last year, we got these guys to be all in, and this year it's truly about us moving the needle. Because we were okay, we were pretty good last year, so we're trying to move that needle, trying to be great this year, and what's past great is elite. So I think Chennis Berry has set the standard for us in Division II HBCU football. He's moved on, so that position is wide open for somebody to stake claim to. And I'm not saying that we're going to stake claim to that, but because we got a lot of work to do. But it is wide open for somebody. And we're going to do our due diligence in trying to stay claim to it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of coaching change also in the SIAC as well. Obviously, Coach Berry leaving. You had, Coach from Allen is now at Albany State. I'm sorry, it's now Clark Atlanta. It's now Clark Atlanta. The A's got me tripped up a little bit.
Yeah.
So Benedict has a new coach and a couple of different situations like that. But for the SIAC last year, there were no divisions for the first time. And obviously it was your first year in the league, but how much do you think that added to the excitement in the SIAC, a little bit maybe the unpredictability, and it just kind of really made it to where literally every game matters?
I think it folded, not folded, but it gave every week of the SIAC conference play importance, because when we dropped the game to Allen and then we dropped the game to Edward Waters, a year ago, you would have been done with trying to attempt to play in the championship game. With the advent of no divisions and going to the top 2 teams in the conference, I think that gives everybody a chance until the last week of the season to do what it is that they need to do to put their team in position to be successful. And I think for us, that's what we held on to. Because we dropped those 2 games, that didn't say our season was over. What that said was we needed to buckle down, figure out what the issues were, and go in and make the adjustments so we didn't have those same issues in the final 2 weeks of the season. And I think our kids did a tremendous job of going in and making the adjustments and then just buckling down and playing solid football. And at the end, some chips had to fall in our favor, and they absolutely did. So that's what the excitement is about the non-divisional play when it comes down to the SIAC and not having divisions. I think it played out exactly how the commissioner envisioned that it would, without having divisions, for the final week of the season to really determine who's going to play in the SIAC championship. Obviously, we knew Benedict was going to play in it a few weeks prior to that, but to find out or not understand who that number 2 team was going to be until after probably about 8, 9 o'clock on that Saturday evening of November, I think 11th that was? No, it was November 4th was that weekend when we played Fort Valley in the Fountain City Classic. And we won, and we had to wait to we knew Allen had lost to Benedict, and we had to wait to see what Central State had did with Tuskegee. Not Central, but Miles had did with Tuskegee. So, we get to the campus and get news that, we got one more week to play. So I think the conference and the parity is a lot better with the way that it's set up and the way that it's structured, because folks feel like they have a true chance of winning the conference and being able to play for the conference championship without divisions. Because I think in the past, some folks may have felt that some teams may have gotten in the championship game that maybe not have been deserving. Obviously, for me, I wasn't a part of that. So to come in when there are no divisions and to be able to secure a second place berth into the championship game because we did what we needed to do and got a little help. I think that played out exactly the way that the commissioner envisioned it, and hopefully it'll stay that way for years to come.
No doubt about it, guys. We're talking with finishing up here with Coach Quinn Gray Sr. of Albany State University, coming off of his first season as the head coach there. Coach Gray, you talk about looking forward to the season. Obviously, tomorrow is National Signing Day. It starts the second National Signing Day for the Division II schools, for a Division II program like you guys. How big is signing day these days, as far as getting your guys, or do you kind of as you say, some of those guys filtering offers and things like that? I guess this is your first full cycle in it. Last year you got there in January. Just talk about what you hope to achieve on National Signing Day, and obviously how that carries you guys on to year 2 of your program.
Well, for us, signing day is a tremendous signing day for any program, to be honest with you. It's an opportunity to bring in some solid recruits, solid student athletes, prospects that you think at some point are going to help your program. And when it's all said and done, you go out and do the best that you can to bring in quality first students that are going to do what they need to do to try and obtain a degree while they're here on campus. And then after that, you try to bring in the best athletes that you can that are going to help you win football games, and not just football games, but championships. And what we envision our student athletes doing when they get here is first leaving with a degree, and then secondly leaving with a championship ring on their finger. So for us, being able to go out and secure some of the best talent in the Southeast region is highly favorable for us, because we're in the best region in the country for football. And we feel like, with the advent of the portal, there's a lot of talent out there that sometimes get overlooked because there's a lot of schools relying on the portal, and that leaves some very, very, very talented high school kids out there for us to go out and be able to recruit and bring into our program. And with that, still being able to add some JUCO guys that are going to come in and help you, and then also maybe a few portal guys that you may need some immediate assistance in certain positions. So, we play both ends of the atmosphere when it comes down to the portal, the JUCO scene, and then the high school scene. So we're hoping to bring in about 15 guys tomorrow. To add to the 14 that we brought in mid-year with our JUCOs and our portal guys. So, we're not necessarily rebuilding. We're just trying to replenish what we lost. and still compete and live up to the standard that's been set here at Albany State over the years.
No doubt about it. Before we get out of here, we got a couple comments. Someone was asking, you guys have plans to recruit North Carolina, and in particular, the Fayetteville region. You know, I think, is there something in Florida, in Georgia, does that apply to you guys where there's in-state tuition for people that aren't necessarily Georgia residents? Does that apply to you guys as well?
Yeah, what we have here at Albany State, we have what we call a border waiver. Any state that touches the state of Georgia is eligible to receive in-state tuition at any of the Georgia state universities if they plan to attend. We haven't necessarily dove into the Fayetteville, North Carolina area, but we do get several emails and things like that of tremendous kids. And if there's a kid that we feel like can come help our program, by all means, send us an email. We'll definitely look into it. And if he's, worthy of being recruited, we'll definitely take a look at him, especially if he's a hell of a student first. You know what I mean? So we haven't necessarily gotten ourselves into the Fayetteville area, but if we do get a hint that there's somebody interested and we know that there's some good talent there, we do know that we may go ahead and get into that area and send the coach there to do some research to see what we can try and dig up out of there. Because we do know is there's several Division II HBCUs and colleges in that area, and it's hard to pull them up out of there sometimes. So with that, we being a Division II, we try to utilize our finances, maturely and smart when it comes down to traveling and getting in and around the Southeast region to places that we know that we're going to be able to pull a student athlete from. But that's not to say don't send your information to us, because we will look at it. We will take a look at it. We will give you a shout if it's something that we feel that can help us in the long run. So by all means, send us an email and hopefully it'll be something that's worth our while and worth your while as well.
And then lastly, we'll look at your schedule really quick. Obviously, majority of that is SIAC, but you start off with Valdosta State University, a football program, a lot of history of its own. Albany State is one of the HBCUs that have been able to beat them historically, every now and then. So you start off with them, and then you go to Shaw. You host Shaw University. Just talk about just your non-conference schedule to try to get you warmed up as you guys try to make that run back at the SIAC championship game.
Well, for us, we always we're not going to shy away from competition. I thought we had a tough schedule, out of conference schedule last year with Wingate and Valdosta. Yeah. So we ran up against some buzzsaw, especially to be in the first year, which is, by all means, we didn't gawk at it. We didn't cry about it. We tried to prepare our kids as best we could, especially being a first year program in terms of us being together. And then we went and put our best foot forward. Wingate put a good beating on us, and then the next week, Valdosta State beat us by 5 with a chance to go and win it with about 20 seconds left. So this year it'll be a little bit different because we'll have our offense and our defense deeply enrooted with our kids, and we'll have 2 springs under our belt. We'll have a season under our belt. We'll have 2 fall camps under our belt. So we'll be a lot better prepared when it comes down to going down to Valdosta this upcoming August 31st, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But Tremaine Jackson does a great job down there. He won his conference down there this past year. He went deep into the playoffs, and the expectation is the same for them each and every year as it is for us. So I'm looking forward to going down there, competing against him and his tremendous program, and hopefully we can come out of there with a different outcome. And then Shaw out of the CIAA is an up and coming program that we're going to bring down, and hopefully we have a great game against them, and then we'll have a bye week with the advent of week 0. We get a bye week in there, so we'll get a bye week into going into conference play, and then we'll get into our 8-game conference play and hopefully see how this thing plays out, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You talked about that week 0. That's a change. And then also, I think you guys in Conference Carolinas, the SIAC just signed an agreement to where the teams that don't make the championship game, that have the winning records, they'll get a chance to play another game and hopefully set them up for the playoffs. Obviously, you want to be in that SIC championship game. You want to win that. I do think I recall you talking at the SIC Media Day about, competing for a national championship. I know that's something that you did at FAMU when you were there. And I know, we've had, a couple of CIAA schools make some runs. Tuskegee's made a run. Obviously, that's a high, lofty goal, but is that where you're setting your expectations for you guys? That's like your big goal. I know a lot of people talk the conference championship, but I just remember hearing that from you.
Absolutely. I mean, for us, to win the SIAC championship, that's our number one goal. But the main goal is to always, reach for the stars, man. And that's Division II national championship. Until they tell us there's a CIAA SIAC Celebration Bowl or something like that, we got to aim high. We got to aim for the stars, man. And those stars are aligned at the Division II national championship. And that's what we're going to really set our goals to do. We're not going to sit here and rest on, just winning the SIAC once we are able to make that happen. But, we're going to really focus in on preparing our young men for the next level, because I think that's the next level, competing with the Lenore Ryans, competing with the Wingates, competing with, Carson Newmans and things of that magnitude. So for us, man, we're gonna set the bar high. The SIAC is a high bar, but there's a higher bar that we have that we want to achieve above the SIAC. So at the end of the day, man, like you said, when I played, it was the MEAC, but it was also the 1AA national championship, and we were one game away from that in '99 against Youngstown with about a minute and 20 seconds left. So, for me, I know how it feels to get to that semifinal game and be on the brink of getting to the national championship game. So with that, we want our young men to understand there's a lot more after winning the SIAC championship, especially with the Division II playoffs and national championship, and now with the advent of, the Beach Bowl. So, there's things that we can definitely strive for when it comes to after winning the SIAC championship. So we're looking forward to it, bro.
Awesome. So I appreciate so much Quinn Gray Sr., head coach at Albany State. I got to give a big shout out to your AD, Christine Kelly, who reached out and made sure made this happen to facilitate that. She's awesome. And I can see, you guys are doing big things down there in Albany State. Coach, appreciate you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and let you get off the hook so you can pull in some of those last minute recruits and everything you got lined up. But congratulations to you and the success that you're having at the program and everybody at the program as you guys continue to look to be excellent and raise that bar. So I just want to take my hats off to you, as well as Fiberspace here in North Carolina, where I'm broadcasting from. So I wanted to shout them out as well. Coach, we look forward to seeing you again soon, probably, during the preseason and then into the season and beyond. But we appreciate you for coming on to Beyond the Huddle.
Hey, man, I sure appreciate it, man. You guys do a great job at HBCU Game Day. Tell my boy Vaughn I said what's up when you talk to him, man. And you guys keep doing the great things you're doing, man, putting the light on HBCU athletics, not just football. But we appreciate the job you do, man, and keep up the good work.
Will do. Appreciate everybody for tapping into the stream. Please be sure that you like it and share this afterwards so that it gets to as many people as possible. And we will catch you next time on HBCU Game Day Beyond the Huddle.